And welcome to the first of our LinkedIn Live events, which is an overview of the Accelerated Upstairs program that we have for 2024. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we're meeting today. In my case, it's beautiful and also beautifully wet and cool Wiradjuri country, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. And I also extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people here today. Now, welcome, Adam. I will introduce myself first. I'm Sarah Hunter. I'm the lead mentor for the Upstairs co-working space and startup hub in Bathurst. We are hosting a series of programs in 2024 as part of the Accelerating Regional Innovation Fund. And today I have one of our facilitators and delivery partners, Adam Mostogl, to talk to you about the Propel and Business Bootcamp event. Over to you, Adam.
Easy. So yes, thank you for that, Sarah. And yes, I also want to extend my acknowledgement to the traditional custodians. I am calling you from beautiful, and was wet before, but it's not now, Litruwita, Tasmania, and pay my respects to elders past, present, emerging. I want to I'm really excited to be coming up and continuing all the great work through the Accelerate program. Came up and ran launch in October and November, and then coming back. And so I guess with the hats that I wear as the CEO and the Chief Entrepreneur of the Diemen project, helped over 1,000 people in the last 2 years start and scale their own small business. I also run Tasmania's first social impact incubator, and also have worked with over 22,500 students now in their own innovation and creation processes as well. So that's what I do every single day. I previously, last year, listed in Australia's top 40 entrepreneurs under the age of 40, and also Australia's most innovative educators. So that's the stuff that sits in my head that I want to come up and help with. And with that, then it's also, okay, so what are we actually doing? And so I made a slide to make it really quick and easy. We've got two big programs. So we've got Propel and we've got the business boot camps. And so really, which one is right for me, I think is the simplest question to ask. And so I'm just going to put these up on the screen. I'm going to have a bit of a chat and let's talk about these. So we've got the two different programs. So Propel runs for 5 days and the business boot camps run for 2 days at a time, but we're running them in 2 different locations is really important to start with. Propel as a program, it's really around creating that solid foundation for your business to then chase the new opportunities and revenue streams that you're thinking about. So if your business is already established, but you've got to make happen, you're not quite sure if you've got everything in place to do it, or you want some extra help to chase those new opportunities, then this is a really great program to come into. It is 5 in length. It is quite comprehensive. As you can see by the content there, we sort of look to cover about 3 modules a day. There's a whole heap that we step through: that lean innovation, sales, impact, budgeting, communications, marketing, compliance. Whole heap of stuff in there that's really in depth. But one, it sort of takes you back. It's almost like, for me, Propel is a bit like a slingshot. You go back, you make sure everything is in place to really be solid and secure for where you're going to next. And then you build in all the new things that you're going to do and then put that through what you are creating and what you are doing. So you can chase those opportunities and you can sit there and go, wait, is this really good? You might have 5 different opportunities that you want to make and you're going, wait, what do I even do? Then let's work through that and work with that. Make sure that your existing business, your existing cash flow is robust enough to keep going and keep things that you want to do. The other side of it is the boot camps. They are 2 days in length. They are specifically designed for sort of those smaller businesses, and just make sure you get those basics in place. So get a bit of a health check and look over, am I on track? Am I doing the right things? Are there things that I've missed? And we really look at either that early to mid stage. Early stage, you're starting out, you've maybe just bought the business, you've just started, just to make sure that you are on track and that you're doing all the things that you should be doing. And we then talk about that mid-stage to sort of refresh and to revise and just to go through, have I got my target customers right? Are there things that I can add into this? And so we look at those 4 elements again. We look at sort of 2 per day. We look at that strategy, that planning. What's the problem that I'm solving for my customers? How am I creating value? Then we step through the brand. How do I present my business? What is the gut feeling that I'm creating? As well as the digital marketing tips and tricks that I can use to use those online platforms really effectively, to be really entrepreneurial in our approach and think in that sort of really creative, adaptable way. And how do we lock into the things that we need to hold on to, but then let go with everything else and chase. And obviously, running small businesses, it is all about cash flow. It is all about getting money through. How am I actually making sure that I've got plans for that? How am I setting myself up for stronger revenue, stronger cash flows, and making sure that the business is robust enough to keep going and do all the things that we need it to do? So that's, in short, what the programs offer. Really quickly, as it says there, so we're running Propel from February 5 to 9. They'll be running Bathurst at the upstairs space. It'll be fantastic to come back and deliver there. And then we've also got the boot camps in March, obviously March 4 and 5, which is the Monday and Tuesday. That'll be upstairs, and they're going to Lithgow for March 7 and going to deliver there as well. And so the best part is, and I feel like the one hook that I didn't put this on here, but I feel like the best hook, and Sarah, you can back me up on this, that someone else is paying the bill. So it's free to be part of it.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important for people to remember that there are a lot of programs funded by various government and NGOs, and they are intended to provide that opportunity for people to access resources, competence building. It's there to help people run their businesses better, help the local economies be stronger. So I have sometimes come across people who say, oh, there's probably someone who would be better to take that place. But the fact is, it's there for you. If you're a business owner, business leader in one of these areas, this is absolutely made for you. And to that point, I was going to start with bootcamp, Adam, but I will just go back to the Propel for a moment and ask you some of those things. Really, if you look at the suite of topics in Propel, it's kind of a micro MBA, isn't it?
I was kind of half going to write that in there, but I feel like I can't really, I haven't got the accreditation to sign off that I can give you a certificate that's an MBA at the other end of it. And having owned an RTO, I know all the compliance requirements, and so I'm not even going to get close to that. But yes, no, it is very much that. But it's all practical. We're very much in the way that we work and what we do. It's all about how do you actually live this out now. And I remember that from launch. I'm sure that you've had a chance to. We had one of our participants who basically in the program went through and realized very quickly that they'd kind of just missed a core thing in their business and basically completely changed their revenue model, opened up what they did, got some energy in 2 weeks that basically they hadn't had for 18 months. And I think that's the other side of it. So not only is the content there that you can take, you can apply, use it in this business, use it in the next business, if you're crazy enough to go again. But on the other side of it as well, it's about how to actually walk away and do something with it. This is not a textbook. This is not a resource that you put on the shelf. I don't want that to happen because your businesses are real and live and active. And if you can tweak those things and you can make those things happen now, that's the other side of it as well. So it's actually, how do I do some of this now? And some of it you'll pick up and you'll put straight in place, and others you'll put on the shelf and go, I'm coming back to that in 3 months because I need to. I know I need to, but this is my priority. And so that's the other side of it for me. It's not an MBA that just sits on the shelf and it's a nice certificate, but it is it's something you can do and you can put in place. And again, it's that slingshot for me. It's the energy to make sure everything's robust and then basically pivot off to that new opportunity, that new revenue stream that might be completely consume your business, or it might be an add-on that creates that next thing that your customers are looking for that you can chase, or that innovation that you've been working on for a little while and just haven't quite put in place. Then let's actually come in and let's help make that happen.
And that platform is so important, isn't it? Because you either do it on your own terms in sort of anticipation, or you do it in a sort of because the wheels fall off somewhere or something falls over or you've got a problem or you've got a compliance issue, and suddenly you're doing it when you've got other things on, when you're not controlling the way it's happening. You might have to sort of scramble, and that's really not fun. So knowing in advance that, okay, I'm going to do this health check on my business, make sure that platform is really robust. And as you say, park something, it'll be down the road a little bit, but I know I'm going to have to come up, that will be something that comes up next. You take back so much more control, don't you?
You do. And I think the other side of it as well, so I agree with everything you've said there, but often you find people who are already, if you've started this or you're in a leadership role, you're also thinking of the next thing. And so you're not only just doing what you're doing, but you're kind of like, oh, I wish I could do this. Or I'm in contact with enough customers that it'd be really great if. And that's the part that we get stuck, because when we get caught doing that, oh, I need to do this. I've got to submit my tax stuff. I've got to and that's where you get caught in every day. And that's nicely, sometimes there's people who enjoy all that stuff. but not everybody does. And we often do kind of go, oh, what's this new thing? What's the bright, shiny ball that we can chase? And this is a space to go, wait a minute, let's create the time so you can chase it, but also put it in place and actually own that this thing should happen. And I run sort of sessions like this on regular basis. Again, the launch program, there are a couple of things, just even painting the wall and changing the color in the business, because that basically broke the stranglehold of what was already there. It was a massive change. And again, sitting there going, okay, now we can chase these things because I now have time and I now know where I'm going and what I'm doing. That sort of stuff is really key. And as businesses, we've got to continue to refine and to innovate, especially in our regional communities. We want to keep connecting with our customers and keep remaining relevant. We don't want someone else to kind of sit there and go, oh, they're doing some really cool things down the road. And see, it's like, no, but our business is meeting the needs of what we need to do because we know what needs to be done. And let's actually put it in place and do it, rather than, again, do it because a customer asked for it and go, oh, I've been thinking about that for 5 years, but now that you've said it, maybe I will, and rather offer it, push it out there. And I know that, again, talking to people and they go, I actually just talked to a couple of customers, and actually I just got an email from someone I met with 3 weeks ago. He just went, I've just gone and met with a whole of people and everyone's like, when are you starting? I was like, they were like so nervous to meet with me because they were like, I'm not even sure I'm ready because I don't even think I got customers. I'm like, go and talk to these 5 groups. Let's see what you can do. And they're all like, yeah, I feel like my books are filled for 12 months. I'm like, great. Now you're in control of what you're doing.
Yes. And that's a really interesting point. You mentioned the launch program. And I mean, the content of these is so valuable, but alongside that value is the peer review, that sort of mini market research focus group that you've got with everyone around you. So there are moments where it can be a little bit confronting, you know, because people are asking constructive and naive questions about your business. And it means that you have to think about, well, yeah, what is the answer to that? You know, you're so immersed in it. So when people say, well, how does this help? You know, your first reaction sometimes could be, well, of course it's fabulous. And then you see, okay, I need to have the words to describe the value. And being as part of this cohort means that you are, you know, you're sort of obliged in a supportive environment to wordsmith that out, to know what you need to say to people. And that's a really valuable element as well of that in-person piece, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why we love to do this in person and bringing people together. You could easily just deliver all this content as an online series of videos you just consume when you're, I don't know, doing the dishes or something else and just get bored with it. But to be in the room and to wrestle with stuff and to get that perspective. And then I love, actually, I always say at the start, like, ask questions, because if I change my slide order, it's because of what you're thinking about, not what I just wanted to tell you, because that's what you're wanting. And it's how do we build it there and how do we meet the needs there? And then you're right, that new perspective, that this is what I've always thought. This is how I talk. I've done a number of things in the NDIS space. The amount of acronyms that you get is just insane. But so you talk with all those acronyms to people that you know because all your providers know it. But the moment you talk to a customer, they've got no idea what that means because they've never seen that before. And so when you talk about what you do, you have to change your language and you have to think about it. And that sort of stuff, I agree, is really important. But also to realize that there are other business people in the region who just want to help, who want to make things happen, who want to support what's going on. That for me is the other side of it. And so that group setting is really key. So as much as there's content, there's actually lots of time for discussions and for chats over a coffee and for lunch and just to work through, this is what I'm working through, and we're all in this boat together. And look, realistically, if we can all help our businesses out, then we're better for it. And I think you're right, but at the start, it's very much, all right, well, what's Adam telling us? But by the end of it, it's like, okay, I'm just sitting here as part of the group having conversations and we're all helping each other out because our businesses need it. And we're all doing pretty incredible things. But then here's the content, the information that only starts to level up what we're doing. And I will add, because I did kind of forget to mention it before when you talked about all the other service providers, but like we deliver one of the contracts down here for the federal government programs. And so for me, it is all about how do you actually access everything that you are entitled to. I completely agree that there are limited spots and different programs and different supports, but realistically, how can you then get your foot into one and navigate into the next and find out what else you can do? And whether it's you or whether you're finding out something for another business that can use, there is nothing wrong with taking content from some of these workshops and going, oh, I just saw this and here's a resource that I think would really help you out. Like, that's what this is all about, because we do want to see our businesses in our communities really thrive. And because our small businesses, they consume our lives, they consume our employees' lives, and our customers really care about what we do. So if we can make them better, then we're all better for it.
Absolutely. And just on that thing about programs, that is essentially an investment in your business. It's no different to any other investor. It's the taxpayers investing in the businesses in the area, and this is the way it manifests. And therefore, if you can take that opportunity and take it up, then that return that you're going to be able to deliver by being a bigger or a stronger or more resilient business, an employer of people, fantastic. I do have another question for you on the Propel thing. And that is just going back to, we talked about Propel as being just making sure your platform's strong before you go onto another initiative or launch a new revenue stream. For many business owners, it's really one of the most difficult things to do is to leave it to other people, leave some things to other people while you go off and do, it's like, well, if I focus on this, then something else is going to fall over there. So it's a really important, I think, for your mindset and your preparedness to follow those new initiatives, isn't it? To just have that double shot of confidence that everything is set up nicely as a good platform.
That's right. And I think obviously, like, I'm very clear around the days that we're not going for full 8-hour days. So there is a time to check in and to make sure everything's going okay. So you've got that time in the calendar from that perspective. But it is good to be able to step out to see what's working well, what is smooth, and what can get some work as well. And so not only is it what you get out of the content, but also how the business works. I actually find in a really nice way, I'm sure that maybe it's just me, but sometimes my team like it when I'm out of the office because they can get things done because I'm not annoying them. And so that's the other side of it. But look, if you are really nervous around that and you're not sure about that, again, remember that the bootcamp's only 2 days compared to Propel being 5. And so it's sitting there going, what is the right thing for me? Am I at the stage where I can trust someone else to do that? Or is this actually worth it? No, I really want to chase this. And it is about creating that commitment and that time to be able to be there and go, wait, what does this mean? How do I get the most out of this? How am I present in the moment to build and to refine and to think through what is available?
Yes, absolutely. So bootcamp, it is similar to Propel, but it really is I'm early stage, and I just need to check that I've covered all the bases. I know enough about those elements that I, will feel confident I'm not missing something. Is that how you would see it?
Yeah, I look at, one at that early stage of, wait a minute, let me make sure I've got these things on board, because if I don't have them on board, then I'm going to miss something. If I just manage to somehow find a couple of customers and I feel really good about this, have I actually got a pathway and a strategy that underpins how do I find my next group of customers? So it's in that space as well. So look, if you're still scheming and you're planning, look, it could be a good fit, but I find that if you've actually gone somewhere, you've actually got lessons to learn from and to work on, which is really useful. And then we talk about that mid-stage element being that refresh and revise, just to go back and check. I've just been doing a lot of things in the start of 2024 going, let's just refresh and let's just set some goals for the year. And what are we trying to do? And this is actually a really great timing. You've got a little bit of traction there and going, what else do I want to get right? What are the things that I actually want to address? And if it's in one of those 4 content areas, then great. This is a great way to do it. Just make sure that everything else is solid. And make sure everything else is really good to keep moving along. And again, it's more in that space rather than let's build a brand new revenue stream like Propel and go all that sort of stuff. It's like, let's just lock in and fix the things that we've already got is probably where that sits. And that's why it's that 2 days. It's a little bit shorter. But obviously it's a bit more tweaking around the edges, and let's build some brand new products from scratch.
And a bit of benchmarking as well, isn't it? With with the others,
and sharing and learning. And I think that's you kind of go, wait, here's what we're doing, here's what we're seeing. Oh, do you know these people over here and doing that sort of stuff? So it's the benchmarking, it's that community, that collaboration piece again, and seeing what people are doing and what things are happening. And everyone knows each other. That's how it works. But then we kind of sit there and go, wait a minute, what does this mean for what we're trying to create? And oh, wait, we missed this, or hey, I can connect you up with someone and let's make that happen. So you don't have to be isolated. I feel like that's the biggest thing with all these sorts of programs, that I think for some reason small business is seen as this do it on your own, basically dark corner, all that sort of stuff. No, come on out, be part of the community. And that's the best part about being as part of Upstairs, being part of the co-working space, connecting with others, seeing what's going on, and being part of the business community as a whole. and go, how do we all help each other out? How do we support businesses to thrive? And realize that we can all actually rise together rather than, hey, I've got to tread on someone to get there. No, it doesn't work like that. And by rising together, we've all got different skills, we've all got different strengths, we've got different things that we can do. And with the beauty of the internet these days, we can connect with anyone in the world.
Yes, and the beauty of the internet brings me to digital marketing. Now, business planning, revenue and cash flow projections, there's always a new way that you can do it, but there's a lot of the basics that don't really change. However, with brand and digital marketing, oh my goodness, even if you thought that you were up to date 12 months ago, things have changed so much in terms of strategy and also operationalizing digital marketing that, it's really something you need to be on top of regularly, don't you?
You do, and I think there's either side of it. One, it's a really great platform to put yourself out there because it, like, comparatively doesn't cost a lot of money in the marketing space. It just takes a lot of your time, and that's really valuable, and never underprice that. But now we're probably hitting the space of going, wait a minute, which platform do I jump on? There's like 50 of them, and I don't have time for all of this. And so it is sometimes actually, how do I stay sane while I do all these things? And how do I keep a good flow of content and enough information out there, and be a little bit kind to myself in realizing what is working for me, what's not? And how do I, at the end of the day, set a really good impression? For me, brand at the end of the day is the gut feel that you have when you hear a business's name. And that's what you're trying to set up. And it's actually seeing, how do we structure this? How do we build this? It's not around like beautiful logos. Like, you can do this sort of stuff and that looks great, but then it's the feeling and the impression and the connection that you create with stuff. And that's where these sort of platforms really help with. So again, it's actually saying, how are our customers evolving, and how is our interaction with each other changing? That you look back and you look at marketing strategy, you look at the 4 Ps of marketing, and it was build it and they would come. Build a brand new shop on a street corner, everyone turned up because it was a brand new shop. Nowadays, can't be bothered. What am I doing? I don't have time for that. What does it mean for me? It's a very different conversation. It's now about experience. It's about how our customers sell our products for us, not how we tell them how good it is and why they need to buy it. It's just constantly changing, constantly evolving. And that's where, for me, some of that business bootcamp refresh is really key, just to go, wait a minute, have I got this stuff in place? Am I using it the way I can be? And can I basically not just read 50 blogs that tell me here's the 10 best tips on how to do it and just follow the steps, but what also works for my business and my customers?
I think there's another thing as well that people, as they become more comfortable in their business, it maybe gets better, but digital has very much made us value the authenticity of an engagement. So I think sometimes people feel, well, I need to be business-like over here and not be me because I'm not business-like. But the reality is people are business, business is people. Brands are very much an emotional connection as well. So I think it's helped people to understand that they can be much more themselves in their marketing communications that they might have otherwise thought of. But for whether you're sort of an early stage business or you're running a bigger one, it's I think people do need some help sometimes in just feeling, getting permission to be more personal in their digital marketing.
Yeah, I always talk about the fact that no one signs up for social media because they want it to be communicated by a brand. Like, that's where it comes down to. We all connected because we want to connect with our friends, or we want to be doing all this sort of stuff. We're on LinkedIn because of the professional networks we want to build and the people we want to stay in touch with. We just happen to have a platform to build our businesses into as well. And so for me, the biggest thing I always talk about is that, imagine if your business walked through the door. How are you that person? What does that look like? Who does that feel like? Is there an ambassador? Is there a brand identity that sits in that space? Because realistically, if you look at some of the marketing and you think of the whole buy this now, sell this now, imagine if you sat down and had a cup of coffee with a typical infomercial ad that's like, if you buy now, you'll get the steak knives. Like, that's I wouldn't have coffee with that person. I wouldn't have a chat to that person. But businesses still think that could work. And if you want to build a long-term relationship and not annoy your customer, you've got to think of, how do I be a little bit more personal, a little bit building a relationship? So for me, that stuff's really key to work through that and to think about that. And sometimes for me in some of these sessions, it is potentially a different way of phrasing it and a different way of presenting it, to think through, okay, this is what it means for me. I've read this, but I never understood how this meant. And then because we can all have a conversation and we can talk about it, we can actually wrestle with the content rather than just go, here's the stuff, I don't quite understand it, but I'm just going to do it because something on the internet told me to do it. It's like, no, let's actually chat about it. Let's make sure that you understand. And if it doesn't fit, great, let's talk about what could fit for you.
Indeed. Now, I think it's time that other people had a chance to ask questions. So do we have any questions about our Propeller Bootcamp? Ariane.
Hi, I was like wanting to tap in and join from just on 1:30, and I had to click over to where you put the Zoom link, and I'm like, oh shivers, I missed the start.
Okay.
I'm doing that. All right, cool. I am your perfect candidate.
Great.
And I need to. I'm already like planning to come to the one in February, which is the 2 days one.
So there's an Eventbrite link that I put at the beginning of the chat, and you can just click through to that and choose which one you would like to join, or just email me and I can set you up. But either of those would be fabulous and such a good grounding for you and for your business. I think you'll really enjoy it a lot.
I think.
Well, I do too, because I took a picture of that because
Good.
I mean, propelling my business, I need to be able to work out exactly how I'm going to be generating my $2,000 a week, which is $8,000 a month for business.
Yep.
Number one, like having another stream of income, as well, like, because I've created a non-for-profit foundation, which just needs a little bit more back end. How do I say it? Formalizing with with the unincorporated ABN and the different type of thing, because this is my humanitarian project, and I've had probably invested $20,000 last year into that with my private business mentor. So I didn't use all of my business advisor sessions with Nalinda in the Bathurst Biz HQ, where I
Ariane, we better just stop there, because that's a lot of private information, and this is going to be a public broadcast. So maybe not too much about your own business, but it will be fabulous to see you when you come, and I'll check in with you later to make sure that you've been able to register, and it will be fabulous to see you. And I know Adam will be able to
forgot that it was
great
being
deal
recorded,
of help.
but that's okay.
Yeah. So the only other question that I had, actually, Adam, was from another business owner who's thinking of coming in, and then said, what should I do to prepare for these programs once I've registered?
Oh, look, in the nicest possible way, get a good night's sleep the night before and bring a full drink bottle. Otherwise, no, everything's in the session itself. I don't want to sit there and go, how do we have all these plans and things and everything ready to go? Because you know your business, you know it well enough. We'll ask questions. If you've got things on hand, bring your device along that you can, I don't know, we do the cash flow stuff and you sit there and go, oh, I actually really want to go through that, and you pull up your accounting file or something like that. But if it's all within reach, but there's nothing prepared, you don't need to bring a whole heap of list of stuff.
Terrific. So really all you have to do is go to Eventbrite and register, get a good night's sleep, and show up ready to work on your business. That sounds terrific. Well, thank you very much, Adam, and thank you very much, Ariane, and other people who've joined us today, and we will see you again soon.